Hey everyone, it is Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I hope you are well and I hope you are being safe. Thank you for joining me today in the kitchen. Really cool class. I'm going to teach you guys how to make shortbread using only 2 ingredients. I call it magic shortbread because literally, 2 ingredients is pretty magical, right? Pretty awesome. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make that, and the reason why I'm teaching you how to make that is because it's a recipe that I designed about a month and a half ago. I wanted to create a little shortbread that could be used almost like a crumble topping to go inside a wonderful ice cream. So I thought if we're going to be designing something to go into ice cream, it can't be a really long, drawn out, kind of hard recipe. It could be something really, really simple. Hence how I came up with 2 ingredient magic shortbread, because yes, you can eat it like shortbread, you can eat it like a cookie, but guess what? It is also amazing when you crumble it through, say like a rhubarb ice cream that you will make using one of these, which is my Healthy Ice Creamery. So if you have bought one of these, Bridget's Healthy Ice Creamery, which is the magic plate, you already have this recipe in the free ebook that I sent you, which has 30 ice cream, sorbet, gelato recipes, but it also has, I think, 15 or 16 of these type of really quick recipes, like instant brownie. 2 ingredient shortbread is in there. Wonderful little gummy bears are in there. Lots of really gorgeous things that you can use to mix inside your ice creams, which are nice and easy. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make the shortbread today. Like I said, it's simple. It's 2 ingredients. Come on down to my bench. It is fabulous. It is one of those things that you go, surely not, and I'm going to go, absolutely, this is what we can do. So the first thing is we're going to be using like 2 ingredients. The first ingredient, I'm going to be using almond flour today, but you can also use cashew nut flour if you want to swap out from almond. But you do need a nut flour in here, so anyone who's got nut allergies, I'm sorry, this is potentially not one that you can make. There isn't really an alternative that I have discovered so far for a nut flour. So go with almond or go with cashew nut. I prefer almond. And we're going to be putting our ingredients straight into our bowl here today. I've got my scales down the bottom so we can measure it all out. And you want 200 grams of almond flour. Of course, you can always halve this recipe as well. So it makes quite a few shortbread. But the full recipe is 200 grams of almond flour goes in there. I'm going to have to buy some more almond flour. I'm getting short, so I need to go and do some shopping. All right, so 200 grams. That is the very first ingredient. And because there is only 2 ingredients, there's only one more to go. And guess what it is? It is our sweet as fiber syrup. Is the second and the end of the ingredient list is what you have here. So what you need to do when it comes to the fiber syrup is we're going to start to add it in fairly slowly. So it's all going to depend on how fine your almond or cashew nut flour is. You want quite a fine one because it's going to help to soak up the fiber syrup. So we're going to start off with 4 tablespoons, which is around about 40 grams, or 4 tablespoons of fiber syrup to begin with. And this will make you sort of 20 to 40 shortbreads. So it goes a really long way, even maybe 50, depending on how thin you roll it, which I'll show you soon. So add first off 4 tablespoons of our fiber syrup and just give it a bit of a mix. And it kind of looks like nothing is really happening, as you can see, but this is honestly where the magic starts to happen. Because even though it may look like not much is going on in your bowl, magic is occurring, which is very exciting. Jody just asked, can you use almond meal? Almond meal and almond flour, Jody, are kind of the same thing. Yes, you can, but just make sure it's really fine. If you find that you've got quite a granular flour or meal, throw it into a little food processor and blend it till it comes quite nice and fine. That's definitely going to help too. And it's going to make your shortbread a lot more pleasant to eat as well. So I've got 4 tablespoons so far. You're going to be adding up to 6. So I'm going to add 1 more tablespoon. It's going to go in there. So 1 tablespoon at a time now. And what I'm looking for, this is when you're going to get your hands involved. What I'm looking for, clean hands of course, very, very clean hands, is whether the mixture is going to start to come together. So I'm giving it a bit of a squeeze. And what I'm looking for
is it starting to clump. Now that's not going to happen until you get your hands involved. So this is definitely a hands-on recipe. Get your hands in there, dig in, and you can see that it's coming together, but it's still got some crumbly bits. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add in total 6 tablespoons, which is around about 60 grams or 3 ounces of our fiber syrup. Now, another reason why this is magic is, of course, as you guys can see, there is no gluten here, there is no sugar, no refined sugar here, there is no dairy. In fact, of course, these are vegan friendly. But because we're adding fiber syrup, and this is another part of why it's magic, because we're adding fiber syrup to the mix, we have added a good amount of dietary fiber, and fiber is so necessary to help keep us regular. It feeds our healthy gut bacteria, but it also helps to keep us feeling fuller longer. So in 1 tablespoon, or about 10 mils of our fiber syrup there is nearly 7 grams of fiber. And did you know, this is a really cool little fact, did you know that ideally, an ideal healthy diet involves about 25 grams of fiber a day for females and 30 grams of fiber a day for males. So even on 1 tablespoon of fiber syrup, there's nearly 7 grams. So for females, that's nearly a quarter of your recommended daily intake of fiber you are having in 1 tablespoon of fiber syrup. Hence why it's called fiber syrup, because it's high in fiber. Isn't it cool? So you see what I have here now? I have this wonderful ball of shortbread dough. It's come together really well, and it was just that extra tablespoon that I added. But like I said, start off with 4 tablespoons and then add 1 tablespoon at a time, because depending on how fine your flour is, you may need a little bit more or a little bit less. But I've put in here a total of 6 tablespoons and 200 grams of our almond meal, and of course that's 7 ounces for any one of our American friends. So next thing, all we need to do is consider the rolling. So I'm just going to half this ball. I'm going to work on half at a time. You want to get yourself out some baking paper. This is honestly, this is the easiest way to do it. Like, you just get out some baking paper. You don't have to worry about adding any extra flour, almond flour, to the board. You can literally put another sheet on top, get out your little rolling pin, and you can roll it straight away onto your baking paper. Nothing is sticking to your rolling pin because you've got that top sheet as well that is going to help you to get as thin or as thick as you like. So in the recipe, I've said you can make 10 to 20 shortbreads, but that really is dependent on how thick you like them. I like them fairly thick, but I even find when I do them fairly thick, I still get at least 25 to 30 shortbreads out of these. So if you like them super duper thick, you might only get 10 to 20, but I'm sort of in the middle. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm kind of in the middle, like that. You can sort of see the thickness. Let's hold it up for you guys. I'm middle of the road when it comes to the thickness. Now, you can either cut your shortbread into shapes. I've got this wonderful basket of this is literally my basket of shapes, of little cookie cutters and things like that. I'm just going to make mine into little circles today. Once again, it's also the amount of shortbread you make is also going to determine how big your cutter is, or how big you slice them into. I like them to be quite small. I like them to be quite delicate. Check this out. They're just so super cute, just like that, right? So I prefer my shortbread to look like that. So grab yourself up a tray. That top piece of baking paper can go on there quite happily. And then all that's left for you to do is to cut out your shapes. You don't have to leave a big gap in between them, because obviously they don't spread. And they don't rise, because all we have in here is almond flour and of course our magic fiber syrup. So you just cut out your shapes. And the other beauty about working with a dough like this is, let's just say, you're cutting out all your shapes really carefully and really evenly, and then you've always got the sort of scrappy bits and pieces from where you've cut them out. And normally, if you're working with shortbread, you have to be really delicate, because if you overwork the flour, that means you're overworking the gluten, and you want to avoid that when it comes to shortbread. But when it comes to these type of gluten-free doughs, and we've come to sort of the end of all our shapes there, all you need to do without worrying at all that it's going to, ruin the dough is you just bring it together, squeeze it until it's into a ball again, just like that. And then of course you can go back down to rolling out the dough. So I'm just going to grab myself another piece of baking paper, just a little piece. Another little piece of baking paper, and then you can just continue to roll out your dough and keep on making your circles or your squares or whatever shape, your triangles, whatever shape you decide. And this dough is very forgiving, as you can see. It's really easy to get shapes out of it. You don't even need to flour this because it just comes away so nicely. And you fill up your tray with your shapes until it's all gone. Remember, this is only half a dough. Remember, there's only half of a ball of dough. And I've already gotten, and I haven't even finished rolling it all out, I've already gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, and I haven't even finished rolling out the first half of the dough. So you can get a decent amount depending on the size of your shapes, obviously, and the thickness. So at this point in time, what you want to do is you want to pop on over to your oven. Your oven has been preset on 120 degrees Celsius, which is quite cool. It's about 250 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's quite a cool bake that we're going to be doing here. And the reason for is we don't want to get too much color on the outside of our little shortbread. We actually want to bake them quite slowly. So those go into the oven now, 120 degrees Celsius, 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's going to be in the oven, depending on the size, between 15 to 25 minutes. So you need to keep an eye on them, but you sort of want to work on around about 15 minimum, up to about 25. If yours are real thick, you may even have to go up to 30 minutes as well. So that goes over to the oven. And what we have left at the end of the day, check it out, aren't they cute? Look what you've made with 2 ingredients. You have made the perfect, there you go, Coco, the perfect little shortbread coins that of course you can have with a lovely, these are so nice with a black coffee, by the way. That's my favorite way to have it, is just with a black coffee. I still like to have a little cookie every now and then with my black coffee. This is fabulous. 2 ingredients, but the other thing you can do, of course, is once they have cooled down, take them out of the oven, allow them to cool down on your wire rack. They don't take long to cool, and then you can crumble them into your ice cream in your fabulous ice cream maker, which is just over there. You can crumble them through your ice cream. I did a rhubarb crumble. The recipe is in the ebook. Come up here so I can show you. I did a rhubarb crumble using these as the crumble that goes inside the ice cream. I also did a peach crumble as well. The recipe for the rhubarb, how to make sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan rhubarb is in there, as well as the peach is in there. There is just so many options, and now you get the opportunity to just crumble those through and give yourself a wonderful little treat. And of course, the beauty is you get to really give yourself a really good hit of that wonderful dietary fiber, which is just perfect. So guys, I hope you enjoy. Look at them, aren't they cute? Oh, we got a couple of questions before I go. Yes, go for it, Mahi.
Can you use an air fryer?
Someone's asked if you can use an air fryer. Yeah, you can, but just keep that temperature really low. You probably want about 110 degrees, which is about 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 110 on your air fryer. If it gets that low, and a lot of air fryers don't get that low. And the whole idea about an air fryer is it's supposed to give you really good heat, whereas this is a gentle heat. So yes, you can, if your air fryer gets low enough. Keep an eye on it. It will be a lot faster than your oven though. I haven't tried it in the air fryer. I can't give you a timing for that, but great question. Yes, Mahi.
Amy's asked, can you roll into a log and cut into slices, or does it not hold well?
Okay, Amy asked about rolling the shortbread into a log and cutting into slices. Yes, you can, Amy. I will be releasing this recipe tomorrow on Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, and I actually have a method for rolling it into a log if you like them to be done that way. But to be completely honest with you, this is the easiest way, Amy, is to do it like this. You can still keep them nice and fat, but maybe you're wondering if you don't have a little cookie cutter, which I get. So you can, it does roll into a log, but this way is so much easier. Even if you just cut them into squares, they look really good as little squares if you don't If you don't have a cookie cutter, they work really well. Yes.
Will they freeze okay?
Someone asked whether they freeze okay. Don't freeze them cooked. Freeze the dough raw. And if you want to make them, I would not freeze them cooked at all. But you know what? There's only 2 ingredients in here. They last for well over 2 to 3 weeks if you store them in your refrigerator. But if you want to freeze them, freeze the dough raw. When you're ready to bake them, take them out of the. You could even freeze them in portions raw, already stamped out. When you are ready to cook them, take them out of the freezer and put them into the fridge to defrost very gently overnight, and then bake them as per normal. But they don't freeze well when they're cooked. Biscuits don't freeze well when they're cooked. Is that us, Mahid? That's it. All right. So time to get into your shortbread. I hope you enjoyed this recipe as much as I have. I look forward to seeing you again back here in Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. Please be well, guys. Be safe. Take care of yourself today and eat well. Eat well. Take care.